Okay, it's recording now. Here we go. All right, markers. And again, remember, put a piece like some barrier paper underneath so that whatever is underneath so whatever surface you're working on doesn't get marker bleeding through on it. Right? And yeah, and I have like a bunch of demonstrations here of this is just like multiple demonstrations over the years that are all very similar. The darker wall, you can have an easier time making that highlight arc on the back. That looks really nice. I'll go over that. All right, so you can start easy. I did use the E55 light camel for the joists. So there's a document I put it's in Blackboard in the folder for the Loft Rendering. I've got it right over here. That goes over this. The general information about what what the colors to choose. I don't put any the Copic marker numbers and colors down because you might be working with a different brand. So, but generally, brick. If you want to think what does this loft brick look like? What does the hardwood flooring look like? You can very quickly look up a picture on your phone or on a laptop, desktop, tablet, anything, any sort of computer. You can look it up, and that'll give you an idea of the color you're trying to reproduce. All right, so these old wooden joists up here. So at first, I can probably, with the one I did on Wednesday, I left the thickness of it undrawn, but I think it still should have some color on that because the surface that faces down would get more light. These vertical surfaces that go up away from the floor, those are going to get more shadow. So I could just start by going over this. And my E55, oh, this is E31. Well, I guess I got the wrong cap on that. That's E31-ish. One thing that one of the things I was really happy to learn about when I started doing marker rendering, really when I started teaching this class 20 years ago, is that when markers start to run out, they can be really good for rendering wood because they'll give you this kind of striping that you'd find in with the suggestion of wood grain. So I've got other I'm gonna really just I need to buy a refill of E31 and take my E31s that are running out of juice and take them out of my marker bag so I don't pick them up and start using them. There's the E55 here. Lift these caps up. Hey, and Elliot is right here. Elliot, what are you doing? Hi. Elliot's probably about to come and join us. Sure you missed him. Okay, there we go. So my E55, so this is the E55, the light camel. Right, so I'm starting over here, right where the joists go behind that dropped ceiling plane. And if I just sort of like brush it, I'm starting to get the appearance of light changing across the surface. I would assume, make it a little bit lighter in the middle. There and there. I don't want to linger too long. Like when I rest the marker on the paper, just go quickly. If you sit there and like wait, like if I just like do, it just starts to soak in and spread. So watch that. All right, so now here I've got a little color on the thickness of the joist. Here he comes, the guest star. He's upstaging me right now. Hey, little bud. Little rabbit. You can't sit there. Where are you in the weed? Come on. Mm-hmm. Looking for a place to occupy. He wants to sit behind me on the chair. Okay, there we go. That's a good start. I think I'm going to I want to draw out of the frame. Good. Oh, that's not bad. So here, so I can show that little like the depth of it. And like that might be enough. If you were doing a quick rendering to show somebody like just a color, like render a quick color composition, that would be enough to show like this is the color of the joist. So if you're going to leave it like, that's sort of like, if you're not going to do anything to the joist, you're not going to like paint it or anything like that. That would be a good color for it. I might take the brush nib and get like a little more like right up against there. But these, like the Copic markers don't get significantly darker when you layer them. So if I really wanted to do something with that, I'd probably want to get a black or brown pencil. Like if I were to just like, but I wouldn't spend a ton of time. Like you want to do like enough. So in here, I like these, like the pencil sharpeners in H245 are these old like they're sort of like new, but they're old style wall-mounted sharpeners, and they make that really nice point. So you can rest it on its side and get a nice shadow. Okay. And then I'm going to go back over it with the E55. So that little bit of pencil can help me get that, like make that second layer darker because the marker and the pencil will blend. Yeah, I love that, but I think it's okay. I think I'm gonna resist. I'm gonna try to resist the temptation to fuss with this and make it really like perfect. I want to see I want to see contrast up there. Maybe what I want is brown. Instead of black. To give that shadow more of an accurate color, because that black really looks kind of almost bluish. It says black on the pencil. There. Yeah, often brown is like with warm colors, brown, a dark brown can be a better color to add for a shadow. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to stop obsessing with that. I believe I used E23 hazelnut for the cabinets. So similar to the joist, first I want to just kind of block that in, kind of even. You can make those cabinets any color you want to, really. Um, as you see, what I did here is I started with just like a single lighter layer, and then I gradually like added more at the top. There's a little bit of pencil there too. What that is meant to communicate is that there's like the upper part of it. There's a little bit of reflection on these lower edges and the lower parts of the surface. That's what that is meant to suggest. Okay. So I'm going to turn it this way because it's more comfortable for me to just like move my hand kind of at a like side to side at a diagonal from where I'm sitting. Okay. So to keep it light, I'm going to try to just like make these marker strokes fairly quickly. And if I'm concerned about making like this like missing, like sort of drawing outside the line or this bleeding, I can use the brush nib, the chisel nib, which will cover more and faster. Is also good, but it can be a little hard to get it to stay right on that line. But there, and in this case, if you're trying to make something look really flat and solid, like fill something in, then you might, use the marker like back and forth and just sort of slowly move it down so that every stroke of the marker, like the marker sort of flows into the marker strokes kind of flow together, so it looks really flat. But if I'm rendering wood, I don't need to do that, and I don't necessarily want to do that. So just like if you get some light stripes, that's okay. That can be beneficial. So it's kind of like it's a good way to begin suggesting wood without even really trying. Right, come up here. So my intention is I'm going to darken this, the surface that's facing the viewer. So like these, I'm not going to do much with those like surfaces that are facing that wall on the left. Okay. Solid. And if you go over, like if I accidentally put brown over the chair frame, then I'll worry about that later. You can usually fix things. So right now, if I'm not, I'm going to kind of go around and cut that out. All right. The markers will allow you to cover surface area fast and keep it kind of like a smooth surface and more realistic. looking than pencil. That's why we use them. I find that colored pencil is, it's hard to use colored pencil and make something look realistic unless you spend a really long time on it. And time is money in interior design, as so many other. Hey, stop walking on a dog. Come on. Thank you. No, you can't be up here. Too much stuff on the table, and he cannot find a comfortable spot to occupy. Oh well. I'm at work. All right. Good. Get that a little bit. Top there. Okay, so there I have my cabinet layer. That's layer number one. Then from the top, sort of brush down. I didn't really do a lot. Do a little bit more like. Oh, kind of getting to a point where I don't think I can add any more of this color marker. It's pretty, the paper is getting pretty saturated with this marker. I should probably let that dry a little bit more before trying to continue to add marker. If it's really kind of done taking the marker, then I probably want, I'm going to add some pencil to make it a little bit darker. That's indigo blue. That's the black. There it is. That brown. So if I leave it a little stripy, I don't want to try to make stripes or really try to make wood grain. It's too, it's too small. Like from the the view of the drawing, it's the surface is too small for you to really see wood grain, I think. And I think that so far I'm getting it. I'm communicating the material and also starting to communicate a little bit about the finish, where it sort of has a sort of glow to it, kind of like a satiny looking finish. Here, just going to have to do this in that direction. Ah, shoot, pressed too hard. Here is an overhang, so I think I'm going to say, I've always wondered about how this cantilever of those upper cabinets is pretty daring. It's too long. some reason the pencil got up on the point. That's okay. And then like here, I'm going to just say that it is a little darker. There's the plant. It's kind of in the way. How's that look so far to you? Not bad? Do you see wood?
I see wood.
I can see what for me.
Great.
I like it.
Thank you. So that, I think I'm going to go over once more. I'm using the E23 hazelnut. I'm going to go over this once more. I'm going to use the brush nib and just kind of blend that pencil in with the marker. So really, I think I could do this in 3 stages. Like overall, just kind of like a flat value of marker. I guess 4 stages. Overall, just like marker to cover the whole thing. Then I think I could do it in 3. I could do the marker to cover the whole thing. Then I could do the pencil, and then I can do the second layer of marker, because when I did 2 layers of marker right away, it really didn't show up a ton. Hey, okay, I'll sit back there. Just stay put. Oh. All right, good. There we go. Done. I think there's a little toe kick here, and then come in and get the toe kick. Doing. Elliot's like digging at the pillow behind me. All right, good. And if I'm, if you have like, well, it's fine. That is fine. I think the chairs and this countertop, I think I didn't do them in the last one. I'm going to just do a little like green for these chairs. The green and the brown would go really nicely together. Good. Those are far away. I would say you don't need to do a lot. You don't need to do a lot of like trickiness there. I think if I want, here's my, let's do some blending, the colorless blender. I'm going to do this E23. Pick this up. Oh, come on, focus. Put a little gray on there. Just to give it like it's a light countertop to contrast with the brown wood. A little bit there. Let me zoom in for you. There. So I don't need to, like with that background area, that dining area, I'm not going to worry too much about detail, light and shadow, stuff like that. Okay. Next, I did the brick wall. And so the brick, different colors of brick. Reddish color. All right, Elliot, I'm sorry, you gotta go. Keeps flipping me with his tail. It's really distracting. I love him very much, child. Can you sit still? I know. There's two. Let's see. All right, so here is an orangey brown. I think that's acceptable. Probably a good, I think that is probably a good color for bricks. So first, I'm going to start with what I would consider to be kind of like a medium, like a base color. And just do the entire wall. I'm not going to worry about detailing the different brick yet. Although I am, if I'm doing like these bricks in the window well, I can like just like not make it completely solid.
What number color are you using?
This is E13 light suntan.
Oh,
So that's, and if you're using a different brand or if you don't have this one, find something that is similar, or if you, I would look up images of brick walls and just see what the colors are. And then just try to, match them, match them as closely as you can. But, the nice thing that you don't really have to worry about, I mean, you don't have to worry about matching it exactly, because as long as it's like understood to be kind of like, a bricky color, you have the line drawing that details all of the edges of the brick. And so I don't think there would be any question about what it is. Okay. I might even do a little intentional irregular sort of unevenness. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. So if I come back with a little more. So what I would avoid doing, or like what won't work as well, is if you just do like one different color brick here, one different color brick there, one different color brick there, but then all of this is sort of assumed to be exactly the same. Do it in clusters. I would also suggest that you take on, like, bring in some other, like, I might try another, like the E55 here. Let's see what that does to it. I don't really like that. Then I can go back over. With that. Good. So I want to just try to create that suggestion. With the brush nib, if I just kind of like make these little like brush strokes on the bricks, I'm not worried about. I don't necessarily want to make all the bricks look even. I think I'm going to darken that right, just this whole area with a different brown. This is the E55. Darken underneath the sill. Darken up here. That's pretty good. Yeah, I want to create some shadow. Just darken this back here. Oops, that's the leaf. Okay. Up here, there's going to be light coming in, and the light's going to come in kind of like this way. So the upper part of that window well can have more shadow. So back with the E13. Put that red, get that reddish color back in there. Just make that a little bit darker. Okay. So you can see better. Also, some of these can be, oops, darker brown. Okay. So that's starting to get there. I would spend more time just working on getting the detail and changing, like getting the variety of the brick. You can add some pencil. That's not really, is that showing up? That's not showing up. I need the darker brown. I'm going to do a little bit, just like there. Open here. Oops. stuff out from underneath it. Hmm. Okay. All right. All right, good. I think I'm getting somewhere with that. Um, Let me take my E13. So one thing about like, so you can see there's like, there's like the wall is darker facing inward into the room. The interior of that light well surface is lighter because there's light coming in. I'm going to put as like a strip of shadow right here next to the window frame because the window frame has some volume and is blocking the light a little bit. That's going to help make that effective lighting look a little better. This one needs to be a little darker. Let me let's see. So I cast shadow just inside there. All right. The horizontal rail of the window will also cast a shadow, but that'll be at a diagonal since it's, like it's a horizontal fit. You can use a triangle, like put the base of the triangle against the bottom of the sheet and then just use the hypotenuse and then slide it over and get that. If you can sort of like approximate them, just like make a diagonal and try to keep it like the same diagonal, then you don't need to worry about using a triangle. Okay, so I did this lightly with pencil because I don't want to, I want to make sure if I get it wrong that I could erase it easily. But then I'm going to take the marker and just go over that pencil line. Be light because it's actually, let me take that out of here. I don't want to make that angled shadow significantly darker than the rest of it by going over pencil. There, like that. I want light enough, so dark enough that I can see it, but light enough that it's not going to sort of like look different than the rest of the shadow. Okay, that's too. This is a little bit. Well, I guess I didn't mean to make that vertical shadow quite so broad, but you kind of get the idea, right? Looks cool. Looks like it's a real cast
That
shadow.
looks really cool. It looks really realistic.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing. It's actually like, you break it down, you can do it, like just sort of, you can do it efficiently and then make this nice realistic effect. So, and if you're using, like, if this brick is darker, you might use like a straight edge and a white pencil. Like, just like put this like really sharp. yeah, you can do this like if it's a light marker color, this might just be a little. I mean, this might be a little redundant, but you can even like sort of emphasize that the sort of like the brightness of the light on the brick. The white pencil going over that black line is going to look strange unless you come back and maybe erase the white pencil off that line. Um, I think in this case, it looked all right without the white pencil, but you know, it's pretty good. Then down here you can do the same. So really, like I'm trying to get some contrast on that. Cast shadow, and I just the where this diagonal comes down, just like take the rail over to the wall to the brick, and I go all the way there and then down that with that angle, and it'll be good enough to look right. All right, good. Yeah, I think I need to. So like if this is a fairly light, if the brick is fairly light and your shadow is dark enough, then that'll do everything it needs to do. So I'm going to darken that a little bit more. As always, sort of like work your way up to some shadows if you're, when you're beginning, so that you don't take it too far and then have no choice but to like have this like, some like excessive shadow. All right, good. So I would, detail more brick. I think right now I'm just kind of going back and forth with the E31 and the E55. Like the putting like sort of like in some places where I have the E13 layered twice, and then I have the E13 and then the E55 and then the E13 again. That tends to give it a nice, different, a little bit of variation within a range of color. All right. Your window frame and the window sill can be a brown of your choice, or I mean, really, we can make them all kinds of colors. I think I'm going to start by using the E23, the hazelnut, again, and maybe use some pencil to darken it so it's not exactly the same as that. Good. Yeah, so since I have a limited range of browns and brown pencils and brown markers, I don't want to just like make the same brown, I don't want to make this brown the same as the window frame. Let's see if this will work. If I This might be what I put up there already. Do just like a really light bit on the thickness of it that's getting more light from outside. Hmm. And that's, you can see that's a very similar color. So I can work with that. Really darker brown, maybe? Like this one I know I used for the sofa. I'll just use a different color for the sofa. There we go. Here's my idea. That's better. It's a little more reddish. You know, these could be, I mean, these could be gray. They could be, I wouldn't, you know, make them some, personally, I wouldn't make them some garish color, but you could if you wanted to. You want bright yellow window frame. Okay. There. Dark brown and black. Put some black pencil down there to make that shadow. That sill a little bit darker. There. Maybe, since there's light coming in, get out of here. There we go. White pencil, highlight right on that edge on the, so I want it on the top to the right of this line. That's better. And I might even do a little like try to lighten it a little bit. Good, that's plenty. I think I maybe overdid the shadow a little bit, but whatever. Time to stop on the window frame. Okay, so if you wanted to, you know, you could keep fussing with this. I can go into this shadow more with a little bit of pencil. Some more of this like up here. Darken that more. And you could just have yourself a great time. I think this actually could be kind of nice. You know, something I did with one of these is I put like a piece of like a textured paper underneath the underneath this rendering blank and just used it to create like just like I just went over the bricks and it had this kind of like pebbly looking surface. Where is that? Yeah. Can you see it? Yes, there's a little bit of texture on that. Okay, so my wall, so for this is, I think I would spend a little more time on my wall with some shading. There. Not perfect, but as I get closer to the viewer and like bigger, then I'll slow down and make more deliberate marks with the pencil. Make sure I get some of these in here. Um, yeah, coming back with the E13, which was what I started with, and put a little bit more redness into it. There. Do I really want to get fussy with the detail? The brick has a little bit of dimension, so I can shade a little more on the bottom edge of the brick, with that bottom surface, so it looks like the upper surface is a little bit lighter, like it's getting a little more light. There. Oh, that's getting even nicer. I could spend a good long time messing around with this. But so the more I work on this and just kind of keep layering the like similar colors on the brick, trying to stay subtle every time I do it, eventually I start to get some variation, and it starts to look more and more like a brick wall. Okay, how does that so far?
So far, so good.
Very good. Hardwood floor. So a couple things with the hardwood floor. Here on this old one, I kind of overdid it a little bit. Like I just ended up with too much, like drawing a little too much on the floor. I want to be more efficient when I do this. So like, this one, I kind of planned out the reflection with some like light pencil line first. And then I, was able to like be intentional about where I was putting it and just trying to leave the floor lighter. I'm going to say this is going to be a white, like this would be a white wall. I want to keep it lighter, like the walls being reflected in the surface of the floor. I don't want to have it bright white necessarily because it's not a light source, it's just a light color. But I'm going to leave the wall lighter here. I might put a little color at the base. But so some restraint. So first, like here along this, there. Picture frame is going to be like that picture will be reflected. I'll show you and explain this. When you're drawing the reflection for it, break for the riser. The riser is a vertical surface turned away from the picture. The reflection of the picture does not show over the riser. There. So that initially just shows me, it's going to help me to keep my reflection organized. Okay, it's going to fade as it gets farther away from the objects that are being reflected. So E31. How's this E31? So the E31 brick beige, I like that color for this sort of light oak flooring. All right. So like this right here, the cabinet, I can do and I think I'm gonna resist the temptation to just make like a straight line down. I'm gonna use that pencil line, enlarge this, so you can see better. Draw over to that area carpet. And here, the the farther away it gets, the more I can just have the flooring just continue over that line. That's a good beginning. This is one of the ones that is fading away. That's a little better. To that carpet. Flooring over here. All right, so your picture that's on the wall here is being reflected here in the floor. The bottom of the reflection is going to be the same distance. So you have like here's the corner of the wall. Here's the base of the wall. This distance from the floor up to the bottom of the picture frame is the same distance from the floor down that the reflection begins. So if I just approximate, I can just approximate that, and that's okay. There. That. Pretty good. All right. Good so far. Now I'm going to lighten my pencil lines more. So I got some of this drawn, and if I go over the pencil line, then it will be in the drawing. A little bit's okay. If there's only a little evidence of it, that's that's fine. Okay. So then here, and then by the time it gets down like here in the middle of the floor, then I'm just going to bring this over there, and I'll just keep this a little bit light and irregular. This one is also fading. Here. Well, this will do. All right, so I want, another similar to brick. When you look at hardwood flooring, you'll see that there are slightly different colored planks. And there's just some like there's acceptable variation in the color of the wood. So even this with my marker fading, I'm getting the appearance of this hardwood. All right. Vanishing point here if you draw the ends of the boards, or if you want to just like do a few of them, I wouldn't do a ton of them. But if you want to draw any, use that vanishing point. Because each of these planks is a long rectangle. This edge is going to a vanishing point on the right. The vanishing point for the bit that's for the what's receding directly away from you, or more strongly away from you, is there. Okay, and remember it's perspective. So as they go right and left, the angles need to change and go to the vanishing point. I've seen a few of these renderings over the years where all of the ends of the boards are drawn the exact same angle, and it it kind of ruins the illusion of an otherwise really nice rendering. So be careful and remember perspective. Okay. Good. And now there are canister lights here, so I can just assume there's more light in the middle of this floor. Um, um, so I can make it darker over here next to the carpet.
Why isn't the color going all the way to the left wall?
Because this wall is white.
Okay, so is it a
There,
reflection right there?
yeah, there will be a little reflection of this wall,
Uh-huh.
so that's why.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could make this more like that. I mean, you see color, but if you look at if you have hardwood floor where you live or reflective surfaces, have a look at them, and when you see light light glare on the surface, it really sort of wipes out the color.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if that wall would be dark, does that mean it would still have the light reflection, or it's gonna be darker?
Darker.
Gotcha.
So like this, if this is a darker object, that cabinet,
Uh-huh.
then I think at the for the near the base of it, I think I might want to darken the floor a little bit more. That's okay. Let this come over a little bit too far. So this, I'm going back over the E55 to darken some of the flooring. I'm using it to darken the floor in front of that cabinet, so that it's where you would see a reflection. Just deepen that a little bit. Okay. Let's see, how's this looking so far? Pretty good. Maybe a little too much contrast. Make that a little bit more solid. That's better. Yeah, I think I need this darker the E55, and it's also a good color for flooring. I used it up on the joists, so they could be a similar wood. All right. Okay, that's pretty good on the floor. Let's get them up here. Okay, just a little there, that baseboard, oak or something. Okay, good. All right, so that's not bad. I'm going to take a short break here and come back, and I'll finish off through artwork. This wall, furniture, and see if we can get to the rest of it. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, give me what is it going to be? Let's say take 10 minutes. Zoom recording. All right, I'm going to share something with you here. Yes. So the artwork that's back there on that back wall, if you don't know what to put in there as artwork, I would suggest you try some simple abstraction like Mark Rothko, who was an American painter, one of the kind of like one of all the all-stars of the mid 20th century modernist movement. So he was known for these paintings that are just big patches of color. They're often his paintings are quite large. So it's simple. All right, I'm going to get off of there. So now having that, I guess that idea of a Mark Rothko painting, I think I just wanted you to see that so that I can come back to my camera just so you have some idea of what I'm about to do. All right, so far my interior is pretty brown, and here's where you might want a little bit of punch of color or something. And this is where some of my more saturated pencils, or if you've got a few, I would still not use really candy colored stuff. But if I've got this there's my patch of blue. I mean, it's something that's got a window mat on it, which is not how you would frame a painting. But we'll just pretend that this is not strange. So I want to go over this a little bit just so that you see some general way to create some plausible artwork without making it too cartoony. Um, there's my painting, all done. So what I don't want to see you or any of my students do is draw a picture of a house that might be something kind of like what you drew when you're very young. Because that does not match the sophistication of your rendering. And of course, I say that because I've seen that before, and I want you to avoid it. All right, so the excuse me, this highlight, that sort of scallop of light, that's what happens like this canister light directed downward. The light comes out in a cone, but you don't draw this like ray of light coming out. You don't see that unless it were like really smoky or misty or something like that in the interior for some reason. So the evidence of the light is on the wall. And so a little bit down, and start by just sketching this. Try to make that arc like that. I can't do it in a single line, and I don't expect you to be able to just like perfectly walk up and go whoop and have it be just right. You just sort of like work on it and find the right arc. You want it to be just kind of like a symmetrical arc. It's going to fade, excuse me, as it goes downward. The farther away from the light source, the light will not be so strong. Excuse me just a minute. Don't breathe liquid. It's not what you're supposed to do with it. All right. That's probably pretty good. I'm going to lighten it again so I can see it. Dang, I just inhaled some liquid. Okay. Now, so with some of these drawings, I've made a like dark wall color. This was not necessarily a color I would choose, but maybe. But it allowed me to add white to the wall to make that highlight. Same with this blue. Added white to the wall, and that looks pretty good. With a light wall, it's a little harder because you can't. I mean, you don't want to make this too dark up here. So I'm going to use a very light gray. I think on the one I have like a warm gray 0 and a warm gray 2. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to start up at the top. A little bit bigger there. We'll go all the way over, do the whole thing, and then just make this follow along my curve as best I can. Hopefully I don't goof it up and flatten the angle of the curve too much. There. So I'm working really lightly because I'm being careful. But this is, if you've got a really light wall, you got to use really your lightest grays. Okay. A little bit. There's grain on this. Dang. Oh well, it doesn't look that bad. I pressed harder to pull this grain off of it from some other thing. Shadow underneath the picture a little bit. I'm going to go back in with my W2 gray. So they got a 0 and a 2. Up near the wall, or up near the ceiling, I'm going to make that a little darker. All the way across, and really darken it right above there. If this is like a bright highlight, the darkest shadows, there's going to be a lot of contrast right up there where this is like kind of the hottest, brightest spot of the light that's cast onto the wall. All right. Yeah, put that darker shadow there. Okay. That's okay. I think I'm going to try to deepen the shadow a little bit right above the spot. So I'm going to take a black pencil. Really light. Make it a little darker up there. Try a little like, yeah. It's just sort of like I gradually increased the pressure drawing with the pencil up there and then faded it, like then lightened the pressure coming down. So I got some change in the line weight. Yeah. That's pretty good. You can, shadows on like upper parts of walls, like up near the ceiling, even if it's a light wall, they'll look dark. Maybe I'll go back over that W2 one more time. Smooth up some of that black pencil a little bit. Yeah. Good. That's good. That's done. The artwork reflected in the floor, very light. This upper part, the top part here is going to be the farthest away. So this kind of reddish, orangey red. If this is the bottom of the frame here, the orangey red might just be like just a little there. And this yellowish color I put over kind of everywhere. There. Just a suggestion of it is all I need. It's only all I want. And the picture frame, probably, I would put a dark picture frame on that. Maybe we'll do like a reddish wood. Come on. Don't do that. It's too red. I don't really like that. I'm going to go back over it with a brown. All right. No, that's okay. Right there. A little bit of color from the frame there. Oops. Mm. That's also going to be better for the reflection of that cabinet from the floor. Okay. There's my, I think I'll stick with that right there. This is a little wobbly here. Don't angle it out, it goes straight down. Hmm. Yeah. Right now I'm just getting more carried away. I'm going to overwork this and regret my decision. Not much I can do about that. Except maybe try to lower the contrast. Put a little more than 355 down. All right, enough. Oh, yeah, you know what, actually? So a way to keep this from looking too artificial, the flooring, you would still see in places the flooring kind of like through the reflection. So run some of the floor, like the color of the flooring over a little bit. And if you really like make something too dark, then white pencil and straight edge and let's see. All right, bigger. And draw a little bit of reflection. Yeah, I'm gonna make that. Get it right. I don't want to draw it on the black line. Yeah, it's a little hard to see it. I think I should just leave it alone. But it's not. If I don't love it, that's okay. I've got the idea. All right, furniture. So here's what I did. Wednesday. So if I want this to be leather, I'm creating this effect of like the leather has this like we'll get this like really bright reflection and then kind of like rich deep shadows in it, and it can be an imitation of leather. I prefer since we have a lot of synthetics that we can use, I would prefer not to take an animal's life if we don't need to. So all right. This was, I know I did use this reddish. This is the light mahogany E107, E07. Oh, you really not a very good place for you to be walking right now. Okay, come on. What do you want? Yes, he jumps onto my chair, onto the back behind me, and then says, move. Space for his little body. What? Oh, better? Right. So I'm leaving. When you have white paper and reflection, it's nice when you can just leave use the paper to be the brightest value of the reflection. Oh, okay. So the top of the cushion I'm going to assume is getting bright, like light and a bright highlight. Put a little bit color there, but I like to leave it really bright. Front edge of the cushion, you can see it's like the corner there. Okay. Yeah. Just around there, show a little dimension to the cushions. All right. Good. I used this green for these chairs. So with the chair, I'm showing some light coming from the right. It's good. That surface is all, and then there are these straps. So the back, there's a strap, and then there's the back of the cushion. So I can just make the whole thing green, and just like color the straps, try not to color over the frame. Okay, good. That's first, good first layer. All right, so you will see in this one, darker up there, right up here on the edge of the highlight is where it has the most contrast. With black pencil, just a little bit up there, go right up with maybe a sharp line like right on top of that. All right, and then back over it with the marker. And that will mix the two. See, glass too much. Oh, shoot, all sloppy here. Yeah, it's pretty good. Do a little bit more here. With this reddish brown, I think if like this like very red color, I think it would be kind of tough for me to combine one of the other browns because they just don't have that red hue. So I think just the black and then this marker is going to do it. Okay, that's good. So similar with the chair. This I can see more clearly. I'm going to leave the strap just with that one coat of marker and then darken with the black pencil what is the back of the cushion. And up here too. I want to be able to create a little more shadow. It's a dark color, so I don't know if I can do that with just with just the marker. There, and green. Good. That's good. Surface. Okay. Dang it. Focus. Good. That's oh, no, I gotta get the top of the cushion there. Better. A little more here. So bright on the right side. That's better. Okay. These guys, I think maybe I'll do a little more. Good. All right. Side table. I'd make this reflective. Some of my examples have this as like originally way back many years ago. It was used to help to like as a it had to be stainless so that students would practice drawing with stainless, but it doesn't make sense to be a stainless table there. It is modern interior, but I don't know. I'm going to make it a color like that, maybe. Let's see. I'm going to make it a dark rich wood. I might mix some colors. There's an edge missing in the line drawing. Corner visible down at the bottom inside something. So this is reflective. I want to have the vertical edge there of that thickness going to be like a division in the reflection. And then the sofa also, I'm going to stay off that edge. There. Just like that. That's a pretty good setup. This thickness is just dark all like that. Good. Good. Right. Want to do that. If I add this red to that, it's going to look cartoony. Maybe a little mixed in with the brown. That's better. I'm going to put in a little bit of black pencil on thickness. And then go back over it. To mix and blend together. There will be shadow in here. There, so the hazelnut. All right, so I put the black pencil down, then I'm going to come back with this. That's pretty good. That's okay. So it's it might not be, if you haven't rendered before, it might not be really obvious to like just leave this the color of the paper and then just assume that like these vertical edges of the back of the sofa and the this vertical division in the table would give you reflection down into that surface. Okay. Let's see, I'll do the plant. I'm going to do this, like, I'll just do the rest of this stuff here, maybe a little bit of the outside. Oh my gosh, I don't know about that. I don't want to use the same green as the chairs, but that is probably something that I need. And I know this plant has this kind of like a little bit of violet on the leaf. Where's my, where do I have one? Yeah. Like that. So there's green and it's kind of like a red violet. So I think first I put the green down. I think I will use a this lighter kind of like earth tone green in combination to kind of settle down that Kelly green of the pencil. But I used the pencil because I was just trying to. I didn't want to use the exact same green as the chairs. That's better. Um, I need this nice and sharp. This is oh yeah, I think the document in Blackboard tells you what this plant is, like the name of the plant, so you could look it up. Good. Go over it. Go. Darker green. Good. It's all done. Right. The base of the table. This is the classic mid-century modern coffee table designed by Isamu Noguchi, who was an American sculptor and industrial designer. Okay. Behind the glass, I'm just going to take a lighter brown. I'm not going to make it solid. I'm just going to leave it like a white edge on it to give it the impression of being having some glare there, especially on the edge. The red of that sofa also, I think I have to use the clear blender for that because trace. That red is pretty strong. So if I try to use the marker, it wouldn't look lighter. In there, just a little bit is good. Oh, this has brown stuff look like they're the same. I think I should have used a different brown that's a little more red. Okay. Okay, so carpet. The carpet, if you had a rectangular design, like let's say you had like stripes going that way, show you there. If that were like a border, or let's say we have like a geometric design that's just kind of like a not a symmetrical pattern. Something that's kind of interesting, not too much of a picture. Let's see if I had it like there. I don't see it in other places. Try it like there. There. Okay. So a couple things to say about them. Well, this one that is a little overworked, but there's thickness to the carpet, and so I have a little like light shadow on the edge, so it looks like there's a little bit of volume to the carpet. You don't need to worry too much about making texture. I've got some subtle texture with some just like variation in marker value. You can see that little stippling in there. And the edges are, I kind of keep the edges a little bit soft when I have those shapes divided up. So let's see. Dark, dark, dark. No, I might be trying to keep my carpet on the light side. Yeah, I'm going to put a little bit of blue in here. And that is, this marker is suffering, unfortunately. Well, show you that. To use a color that I have. Nope, can't see that. So if I'm filling this in and I'm doing some kind of like a scribbly marker stroke, a little bit of an edge to the table base. Okay. So, mm, No, not so sure. Hey, no. I'll make this a little darker back there. Stipple, stipple. So the one thing that carpet has depth to it. I mean, literal depth where there's space down in the carpet, and this stippling and like making it look like it's kind of like got a deeper shadow in some areas is really a way to show that appearance of depth. Okay, that's pretty better. Okay. Yeah, this with this warm gray is pretty good here. Here he comes. Hey. Hi. Come right here. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, god damn. Don't sit there, Hunter. Sorry. I also do want to show like that there's shadow here. With this yellowy color, it's very saturated, which is a little unnatural for something like textile, especially if you see it like in a room with some shadow. I'm going to do, let me get a warm gray. This warm gray. Yeah, the warm gray too. Shadow. I want to be careful using a light warm gray to put shadow on the carpet where it has that really like more that more saturated orangey yellow color. Here with the warm gray, some of this orangey yellow color down on the trace. Pick it up with my, I'm going to pick it up with my warm gray, and then that's good. Yeah. And that's yeah, this is okay for the carpet. A little more shadow on the carpet. These things cast some shadow. It's good. Right. Two. Okay. I think that might be enough for my carpet. Come on, fine. Wind. You win. Squish in back there. Okay. Could do a little more like shadow there. Maybe with a slightly darker gray marker. Go with the zipper. Just settle down. Settle down. It's distracting. Okay, almost done here. Exterior. You will see, like with that, this has got a lot of color on. I would go lighter than that. This is that's too strong. I think green, my lighter green for trees. So the trees and the bushes and the grass, I'm just going to quickly sketch in approximately over them. That. Like mix some of this other green pencil on that a little bit, but yeah, that's give me another green. A little bit of variation, some of it darker, like when you have like leaves on a tree grow in groups in like these clusters, the lower part is going to be darker and in shadow. So that's kind of what I was doing there a little bit. This one. Put in some shadow with my darker green. Good. N2 gray for some concrete. I'm not going to fill it in completely solid. Just a little bit. Oh, God. Come on. Keep my big head out of the way. Good. Building colors, brown, brick. I might use the blender and some color on the trace. Blender, there you are. See that. That's nice. Good. We're going to stick a little like something shadow reflection inside the window so that it's not blank. I think I'm going to make that a little bit darker. I don't have to be that light. That's better. Yeah, a little bit of variation in shadow. It's kind of cool. Good. Sky. Light blue. I can use some pencil. I've got some really light blue here. And I know my blue is kind of shot, but maybe I'll pick that up there. So these are, you can choose which, like, you can choose, like, this big shape here is the cloud. You could choose this is the cloud. Kind of doesn't matter, but there. It's kind of nice. My blue is kind of running out on me. I'm going to avoid making it look really solid because I just want to suggest it. Again, here I'm staying away from the edge of the window frame so that I can kind of suggest a little bit of like some glare from the glass. And clouds, really light. This is an N1 gray. Just a little bit of there. That's kind of good enough for the exterior. Just don't you don't need to do too much light and shadow. Things can be fairly flat. With this one, I spent a long time. I got a little out of control and got into some lighting, like it's twilight. That there's light on this. There's like light hitting the clouds. Light in the windows. I was having fun. I also put some white onto the window. This I did with some opaque white paint, just like a small round brush, and just put it down there because I made it dark and really strong outside. I didn't want it to look. I kind of lost the glass, so putting that bright like reflection on there put the helped sort of put the glass back into the drawing. This one is lighter, but that's, oops, good enough. There, so that is what I got so far. That's all right. It's if I could spend more time and gradually like deepen shadows. This wall, like white surface, like this ceiling plane. Really light gray. Like maybe like over here. Yeah, that's pretty good. And this, lighter, this could be like, I would assume that a wall's going to be darker up near the top, away from where the light's at. There's more light down at, down at floor level, usually. That's okay. Do it this way. Let that dry and even out. A little bit. There. Yeah, the like lower, like middle of the wall is usually where most of the light's at. You can see on this one, I added a picture, some framed artwork, and some of these other ones, like that one, it's more finished. It's really just a matter of using perspective. Vanishing point is there, so the top and the bottom of the picture frame go to the vanishing point, and then verticals, and you've got to draw the thickness of the frame so that you've got the frame projecting away from the wall, so there's a horizontal there and there. Okay, that's enough. Any questions before we stop it?
No.